Imagine collapsing in the arms of the person who loves you and waking up unable to say their name. That is the reality Coronation Street has been building for weeks with Betsy Swain, and now, in a moment that has sent fans straight to social media, viewers say the soap has nailed something so small, so specific, and so real that it has completely changed the way they are watching this storyline. If you think you know where the story is going, stay with us, because what fans have spotted in these emotional stroke recovery scenes is not just impressive television. It might be one of the most quietly powerful details Coronation Street has ever put on screen. So let's get straight into it. Coronation Street fans are hailing a specific observation from Betsy Swain's ongoing stroke recovery storyline, praising the show for a level of accuracy and emotional honesty that has left viewers genuinely moved. This isn't just soap fans enjoying a dramatic plot twist for the sake of drama. This is real people, some of whom have lived through strokes themselves or watched a loved one go through the exact same recovery journey, coming forward to say that Coronation Street has got it right. And in an era where soaps are constantly scrutinized for how they handle sensitive, real-world issues, that kind of praise carries serious weight. Now, if you haven't been following along closely, let's rewind and set the scene, because this storyline has been building since the summer, and it is far from your typical soap plot. Betsy Swain, played by the brilliant young actress Sydney Martin, is the teenage daughter of two of Weatherfield's most beloved characters, police officer Lisa Swain and factory boss Carla Connor's partner. Betsy has already lived through more drama than most Weatherfield residents twice her age. She survived the Corrie crash earlier this year. She discovered a dead body in a flash-forward sequence that had the entire fanbase in a frenzy trying to guess the identity of the victim. And her family life has been turned upside down by the shocking return of her mother Becky, a woman everyone, including Betsy, believed had died years earlier. But it is Betsy's relationship with on-screen boyfriend Dylan Wilson, played by Liam McShane, that has led to the storyline fans are talking about right now. Coronation Street made the bold decision to explore the devastating and often misunderstood dangers of non-fatal strangulation, a subject rarely tackled with this much depth on mainstream television. In the scenes that triggered this entire arc, Ryan Connor discovered an unconscious Betsy and rushed her to hospital, where doctors delivered the terrifying news that she had suffered a stroke. The cause was revealed to be a blood clot resulting from damage to the artery in her neck, damage caused by a temporary loss of circulation during what both Betsy and Dylan had believed, tragically and naively, was a low-risk act during a consensual moment between them. Betsy went on to suffer a second stroke while in hospital, and it was only afterwards, vulnerable and frightened, that she found the courage to reveal exactly what had happened to her. This is where Coronation Street's writers made it clear they were not treating this as a throwaway plot device. The show has been working closely with real experts, including the Institute for Addressing Strangulation, the charity Saphaline, and crucially, the Stroke Association, to ensure that every stage of Betsy's journey, from the moment of collapse right through to her long and difficult road to recovery, is handled with genuine medical and emotional accuracy. The Stroke Association's own medical director was involved from the very beginning of the storyline's development, working alongside the show's writers, producers, and researchers to shape not just the medical facts, but the emotional truth of what a stroke survivor and their family actually go through. And that brings us to the heart of today's story, because it is precisely that painstaking attention to detail that fans have now picked up on, and they are not staying quiet about it. As Betsy's recovery scenes have unfolded on screen, viewers have noticed something that many casual soap watchers might easily miss, but which stroke survivors and their families have instantly recognized as devastatingly accurate. It is the small, unglamorous, deeply human details woven into Betsy's recovery, the frustration in her eyes when she cannot find the right word, the confusion when medical terminology washes over her faster than she can process it, the exhaustion that follows even the simplest physical task, and the quiet heartbreak on the faces of Lisa and Carla as they watch the daughter they know struggling to become herself again. Betsy's doctors have explained that alongside the physical impact of her strokes, including muscle weakness down her right side, She has been diagnosed with two conditions that many viewers had likely never even heard of before the storyline began: aphasia and dysphagia. Aphasia is a communication disorder that can affect a person's ability to speak, understand speech, read, write, or even work with numbers, and it is remarkably common among stroke survivors. Dysphagia, meanwhile, affects swallowing, making even everyday eating a genuine risk. For a 19-year-old who is only weeks earlier, a typical teenager worrying about relationships and university and Saturday nights out with friends, this has been an unimaginable and life-altering shift. What fans have specifically zeroed in on, and what has fueled so much of the emotional reaction online, is how authentically the show has portrayed the small victories and setbacks of Betsy's recovery rather than rushing toward a neat resolution. Soap operas are often accused of compressing recovery timelines for dramatic convenience, having characters bounce back from life-altering injuries within a matter of episodes. Coronation Street appears to be deliberately avoiding that trap here. Viewers have praised the way Betsy's progress feels genuinely earned rather than scripted for speed, the stumbles in her speech, the moments where she reaches for a word that simply will not come, and the raw vulnerability of a teenager suddenly forced to relearn parts of herself that she once took entirely for granted. This authenticity has been reinforced by real testimony from actual stroke survivors who consulted directly with the production. Among them is a young woman named Louise, who suffered a stroke herself at just 20 years old and worked closely with actress Sydney Martin to help shape her performance. Louise has spoken about wanting viewers, and especially other young stroke survivors watching at home, to understand one crucial message through Betsy's journey: that things can and do get better. That message, delivered not through a script note, but through the lived experience of someone who has actually walked that path, is exactly the kind of behind-the-scenes detail that has fans so emotionally invested in this storyline right now. Social media has been flooded with reactions since these latest recovery scenes aired. Viewers have been sharing their admiration not just for the writing, but for Sydney Martin's performance specifically, with many calling it one of the most committed and nuanced portrayals they have seen on a British soap in years. Fans who have never experienced a stroke themselves have said the storyline has genuinely educated them, helping them understand just how disorientating and frightening the condition can be, particularly for someone so young. And perhaps most powerfully, viewers who have either survived a stroke or supported a family member through one have come forward to say that watching Betsy's journey has felt like watching their own experience reflected back at them on screen, something soap fans rarely get to say about storylines dealing with such serious medical conditions. Television commentators and entertainment outlets have also taken notice, framing this storyline as part of a growing trend of Coronation Street tackling difficult, real-world subjects head-on rather than shying away from them. It follows in the footsteps of some of the show's most acclaimed storylines over the decades, stories that dealt with grief, terminal illness, and other conditions that rarely receive this level of nuanced attention on mainstream television. There is a reason Coronation Street has built its reputation over more than 60 years partly on its willingness to take these risks, and this latest storyline is being held up as evidence that the show has not lost that instinct. So, what does this all mean going forward, both for Betsy as a character and for the show more broadly? For starters, it is clear that Coronation Street has no intention of rushing the story to a tidy conclusion. Viewers have been told to expect Betsy's recovery to play out over months rather than weeks, following her transition from hospital back home and the profound adjustments that will bring for her entire family. That includes not just Betsy herself, but Lisa and Carla, who are having to navigate their own fear, guilt, and heartbreak while trying to support their daughter through the hardest chapter of her young life. Given everything else swirling around the Swain household right now, including the fallout from Becky's shocking return from the dead, Betsy's recovery is likely to become even more emotionally tangled as old family secrets continue to surface at the worst possible moments. There is also the question of Betsy's relationship with Dylan moving forward. The strangulation that led to her stroke happened during a moment both of them believed was safe, and now the show faces the delicate task of exploring guilt, forgiveness, and long-term consequences without vilifying either character unfairly. Actor Liam McShane has already teased that this storyline is set to be a defining moment in his character's arc, describing it as quite a big chapter for Dylan and hinting at just how much work has gone into developing this plot alongside Sydney Martin. Fans are already speculating about whether their relationship can survive this trauma, or whether the accident will end up driving a permanent wedge between them, especially as Betsy works to rebuild her sense of identity and independence. There is also growing speculation about where the writers might take Betsy's physical recovery next. Will she face setbacks that test her progress just as she starts to feel like herself again? Will her aphasia become a longer-term part of her character, reshaping how she communicates on screen for months or even longer? And how will the wider Weatherfield community respond to her, given that soaps often use moments like this to explore themes of resilience, community support, and even prejudice or misunderstanding from those who don't fully grasp what she is going through? These are the questions fans are already debating across forums and comment sections, eager to see just how far Coronation Street is willing to take the story. What is clear, though, is that this storyline has already achieved something many soap plots never manage. It has sparked a genuine, sustained conversation about a real medical condition, encouraged awareness of the dangers surrounding non-fatal strangulation, and given a platform to stroke survivors whose voices might otherwise never reach a mainstream television audience. That is no small achievement for a continuing drama that airs several times a week, and it is exactly why fans are hailing this observation from Betsy's recovery scenes as something far more meaningful than just another dramatic soap twist. To bring it all together, Coronation Street's handling of Betsy Swain's stroke recovery has struck a chord with viewers precisely because of its commitment to authenticity, from the medical accuracy shaped by the Stroke Association to the deeply personal input of real young stroke survivors who helped guide Sydney Martin's performance. Fans have praised the show for resisting the urge to rush Betsy's healing, instead choosing to show the frustrating, painful, and ultimately hopeful reality of what recovery actually looks like. With Betsy's journey set to continue unfolding over the coming months, against the backdrop of her fractured family and her uncertain future with Dylan, this storyline is shaping up to be one of the most talked about and emotionally resonant Coronation Street has told in years. That's everything we know so far about this powerful and moving Coronation Street storyline. What do you think about how the show is handling Betsy's recovery? Do you think her relationship with Dylan can survive everything that's happened? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more Coronation Street news, spoilers, and updates delivered straight to you.